My hands hit the cold pavement. There's a stinging sensation in my palms, and for a second, I don't even know how I ended up here. A bike bell rings in the distance, the faint sound quickly fading. My heart's still racing, and I'm just sitting here on the sidewalk trying to piece together what just happened. How did I end up sprawled on the ground in the middle of a city that feels like it's out of a storybook? I'm Alex, and I'm in Vienna, Austria, the city of rich history, classical music, and delicious food. I've heard people call it romantic and imperial, but to me, it's just plain beautiful. My first stop, Schönbrunn Palace, because if you're going to start exploring Vienna, you might as well kick it off with something massive. This place has 1,441 rooms. I don't even know why you'd need that many. But then again, I'm not a Habsburg emperor. Only around 40 of these rooms are open to the public, but that's more than enough for my legs to handle. When I walk up to the palace, it's just glowing in the sun, this huge Baroque wonder that looks like it belongs in a fairy tale. The air has that fresh, crisp quality, and you can smell the faint scent of flowers from the gardens. I'm wandering through the rooms where the Habsburgs used to hang out. Massive chandeliers, gold everywhere, walls covered in these fancy tapestries. And I start imagining what it must have been like to live here. I mean, can you imagine having 1,400 rooms just there for you to use? What did they even do with all that space? Roller skate in the hallways? Have a room just for naps? Who knows? And then there's Sisi, or Empress Elizabeth, who everyone was obsessed with back in the day. Her life was like a soap opera. Beauty, tragedy, the whole royal package. I walk through her apartments, which are just as over the top as you'd expect. But honestly, you can feel a sense of loneliness in there too. It's crazy to think about, surrounded by all this luxury, but still kind of alone. After getting lost in history, literally, I took a wrong turn and ended up in the wrong wing for a good 20 minutes, I decide to head out to the gardens. These things are next level. Fountains, statues, endless rows of perfectly trimmed hedges, and this view from the top of the Gloriette that makes you feel like you're floating above Vienna. The city stretches out beneath me, and for a moment everything feels peaceful. Birds chirping, soft breeze, the distant sound of tourists laughing. It's just nice. I'm getting hungry now, so I head to Naschmarkt, Vienna's ultimate food paradise. This place is buzzing with life. There's the smell of spices in the air, vendors yelling out their specials, and rows of fresh fruits, veggies, and all kinds of street food. I grab a Wiener Schnitzel, the real deal. Golden brown, crispy perfection on the outside, juicy on the inside. And they serve it with this tangy potato salad that just hits right. It's the kind of meal that makes you want to sit there and savor every bite, even though I've been so hungry I'm practically inhaling it. With my stomach full of schnitzel, I'm feeling pretty unstoppable again. Next up on the agenda, St. Stephen's Cathedral. It's this massive Gothic cathedral in the heart of the city with towering spires that look like they're reaching for the heavens. Inside, the stained glass windows throw these colorful reflections across the stone walls, and there's this hushed admiration, almost like the air itself is quieter here. I decide to climb the South Tower, 343 steps. I could have just taken the lift, but I decide to put myself up for the challenge. Yeah, I know. I don't know what I was thinking either. By the time I reach the top, my legs are burning. But then I see the view, and wow! Vienna spreads out beneath me, a mix of old and new, with the Danube River cutting through the city. For a second, it feels like I'm on top of the world. Next, I head over to the Kunsthistorisches Museum, one of the world's finest art museums. They've got works by Caravaggio, Raphael, and other masters whose names I pretend to recognize when I'm walking through. The museum itself is a work of art, with ceilings that make you want to lie down on the floor and stare up at them for hours. Don't worry, I didn't. I still have some dignity left. Even though I'm feeling a little tired now, I can't resist a stop at the Vienna State Opera. Now, I'm not a huge opera guy, but this building is legendary, and I just know I have to check it out. It got bombed during World War II and had to be rebuilt, and they reopened it with Beethoven's Fidelio. Even though I'm just taking a tour, standing on that stage feels like a part of history. Later, I head over to Prater Park for something a little more laid back. This place has an old-school amusement park vibe, and the big star is the giant Ferris wheel. It's been around for over 100 years, and it has this timeless charm that's hard to find anywhere else. I hop into one of the cabins, and as it slowly rises, I can see the whole city again. Vienna's skyline, the Danube, and the colorful rooftops. It's peaceful, with just the creaking of the wheel and the faint chatter from the people below. Now I'm walking along, thinking about grabbing some cake from one of Vienna's many coffee houses to wrap up my day when it happens. I'm walking down the street, minding my own business, daydreaming, when out of nowhere, wham! I step right into a bike lane. Suddenly, I hear this bell ringing furiously behind me, and before I know it, a cyclist whizzes by, missing me by inches. I stumble back in shock and end up on the ground, arms flailing, heart racing, and thinking, is this how it all ends? In Vienna, taken out by a bicycle? The cyclist shouts something in German, probably telling me to watch where I'm going, but all I can do is sit there dumbfounded. I glance around, hoping no one saw me almost get flattened like a schnitzel. But, of course, a couple of locals are giving me sympathetic looks. You know, the kind that says, tourists. I slowly get up, brushing off the dirt, my heart still beating out of my chest. Lesson learned. In Vienna, the bike lanes are no joke. The cyclists here are like silent ninjas. You don't hear them until they're right behind you, and by then it's too late. After my near-death experience, okay, slight exaggeration, I decide I need something sweet to recover from my close call. I head to Café Sperl, one of Vienna's iconic coffee houses, where you can sit for hours without anyone rushing you. The atmosphere is old-world Vienna, with dark wood furniture and soft lighting. I order a slice of Sacca-Torte, the famous Viennese chocolate cake, and a Wiener Melange, which is basically Vienna's version of a cappuccino. The cake arrives and it looks like a masterpiece, a dense, rich chocolate sponge with a thin layer of apricot jam, all coated in a glossy dark chocolate. The first bite? Pure heaven! The chocolate is bittersweet and perfectly balanced by the subtle tartness of the apricot. It's a cake that demands to be eaten slowly, savored with each bite. Sacca-Torte has been a staple in Vienna since 1832, and after tasting it, I understand why. I sip my coffee, letting the smooth, creamy flavor wash over me as I reflect on the day. Vienna is a city full of surprises. It's beautiful and grand, with its palaces and cathedrals, but it's also a place where you can find quiet moments in a cafe or get a little too close to being flattened by a cyclist. From the food to the art to the near misses, this city has it all. And despite the mishap, I can't help but smile. This is what travel is all about. The unexpected adventures, the stories you didn't plan to tell. Just remember, if you ever find yourself in Vienna, watch out for cyclists. Are you planning a trip to this beautiful city? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and adventure aloud.